New lawsuit alleges Ethan Klein fired his housekeeper because she requested time off for a hernia surgery. Lawsuit filed against Teddy Fresh, Ethan Klein, and Hila Klein. The housekeeper suffered from a hernia, asked for time off for surgery in June for July, but was fired 2 days after telling Hila she needed the time off. And they got the full paperwork here, which we'll take a look at in a second. And here's Ethan's response. Our former housekeeper was fired for being horrifically rude to our boy's nanny, constantly calling her fat and asking when she gained all the weight. I gave her so many warnings, hoping she would just stop, but she didn't. She was part of our family and we treated her like it. I tried everything to salvage the relationship, but her conduct was inexcusable. This is all documented with HR, which hopefully makes this an easy matter to settle. Feels extremely violating to know that someone that close to our family can turn around and do something like this. The part about her asking for time off for hernia surgery and then being fired is 100% fabricated. Anyone that knows us or works for us knows that that is not something we would ever do. I care deeply for all our employees and do everything in my power to do right by them. She tried to shake us down for a huge amount of money, which I immediately declined, knowing our innocence and refusing to ever concede to people like her. Also, thank you to this account, Jake Chinatown, who a few days ago retweeted someone saying they wanted to murder our children. I'd love to swing their kid by the legs into an oak tree over and over again. And Jake Chinatown reposted it. Not exactly sure what that has to do with all this. I think Jake Chinatown has talked about this, but it's like, okay, an unhinged thing or an unhinged person said an unhinged thing about you. All right, I'm familiar with the Snark Reddit. All right, Ethan, you you don't need to tell me about that. But yeah, that's where I took these from. I couldn't get the download to work very well from Twitter or whatever. But so here is the first few pages of the lawsuit. Because I mean, I'm not going to read 25 pages of legal documents, but we'll go over the broad points here. So they have a list of looks like 16 complaints for damages here. Violation of California Family Rights Act, disability discrimination in violation of FEHA. I believe the disability discrimination is medical discrimination here. That's what they're saying is the discrimination here. Retaliation in violation of FEHA, failure to provide reasonable accommodation, failure to engage in interactive process, failure to take reasonable steps to prevent discrimination, retaliation in violation of California paid sick leave law, wrongful termination in violation of public policy, failure to provide meal and rest period, failure to pay overtime, failure to pay state and local minimum wage, failure to pay all wages due, failure to furnish wage statements, waiting time penalties, failure to provide personnel records, unfair competition in violation of bus and code 17,200. So my understanding is for these things, usually you throw everything at the wall that you can to see what sticks. So, don't necessarily have reason to believe that these are all ironclad just because they're in a legal document like this, That's my understanding at least. So plaintiff Elizabeth Borda hereby alleges as follows: on information and belief at all relevant times, defendant Teddy Fresh Inc. was a California corporation doing business in California. On information and belief, Teddy Fresh is and was at all times relevant, owned, and operated by defendants Hila Klein and Ethan Klein, yeah. Each of whom at all times was an officer, director, and or managing agent of Teddy Fresh, and another person acting on behalf of an employer within the meaning of Labor Code 558. On information and belief, there is a unity of interest between defendants and each of them, and each acts as the alter ego of the other, and failure to recognize the alter ego relationship would lead to an inequitable result. On information and belief, the Kleins and Teddy Fresh are and were engaged in one or more of the following: commingled funds and other assets, failed to segregate the funds of the separate entities, engaged in the unauthorized diversion of corporate funds or assets to other than corporate uses, treated assets of the corporations as though they were individual assets, such as by paying personal debts with corporate funds or utilizing corporate funds to purchase assets for individual shareholders with no discernible benefit to the other shareholders, failed to obtain proper authority to issue all stock granted to certain shareholders, allowed one or more individual to state that she or he will be personally liable for the debts of the corporation, failed to follow corporate technicalities such as maintaining proper records, holding regular board and shareholder meetings, and properly electing officials to craft and administer corporate policy, shared owners, directors, and officers with other related closely held entities, shared office spaces or business locations with other related or closely held entities. So, I mean, don't necessarily need to understand every single aspect of this, but the way they're describing it here is like it's just completely mismanaged. They do whatever they want with the money. They are using the money that they make from the business where their employees are helping them out to pay personal debts. These are the sorts of things that they're saying so far. Employed the same attorney for more than one related or closely held entity, failed to adequately capitalize a corporation, including potentially failing to have any equity, corporate assets, and/or undercapitalization of one or more related or closely held entity, used one or more of the defendant entities as a shell or instrument for the benefit of a single overarching business venture, such as by using a corporation to enter into contracts that benefit the owner of another related or closely held corporation, with no discernible benefit to the other shareholders of the entity being exploited thereby. Concealed or misrepresented the identity of the responsible ownership, management, and financially interested parties of one or more of the defendant entities. Used one or more of the defendant entities to procure labor, services, or merchandise for another person or entity, diverted the assets from one or more of the defendant entities by or to a stockholder, the other person or entity, to the detriment of and/or to defraud creditors, including but not limited to recapitalization of assets under a different corporate form and/or moniker, manipulated the assets and liabilities between the defendant entities, such as to concentrate the assets in one or more of them while concentrating the liabilities in one or more of the others. So they're saying they're like trying to feed all of the assets, the good things that they own into this one like sort of shell company, and then they're trying to put all the liabilities, all the debts, all the things that they owe into another company, according to this. Contracted with third parties with the intent to avoid performance by use of the corporate entity as a shield against liability, used one or more of the others, contracted with third parties with the intent to avoid performance by use of the corporate entity as a shield against liability, used one or more of the defendant entities as a subterfuge of illegal transactions, and/or formed and used one or more of the defendant entities to transfer an existing liability to another person or entity. So again, this is more or less somebody just accusing Ethan of this. We haven't seen evidence or whatever, but from what they're saying, he's just using this business as a sham to personally enrich himself and extract value from his employees. That's how it's reading to me so far, at least. Excuse me, that's how it's reading to me so far, at least. At all relevant times, plaintiff was jointly employed by defendants who shared authority over and control of the terms and conditions of plaintiff's employment. The true names and capacities, whether individual, corporate, associate, or otherwise, of defendants designated herein as does 1 through 20 inclusive are unknown to plaintiff, who therefore sues such defendants by such fictitious names. Plaintiff will amend this complaint to show their true names and capacities when the same have been ascertained. Plaintiff is informed and believes and thereon alleges that each of the defendants, designated herein as a doe, was in some manner responsible for the occurrences and injuries alleged herein. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereon alleges that at all times relevant herein each defendant was acting as an agent, joint venture, or as an integrated enterprise and/or alter ego for each of the other defendants, and each was a co-conspirator with respect to the acts and the wrongful conduct alleged herein, so that each is responsible for the acts of the other in connection with the conspiracy and in proximate connection with the other defendants. All right, the legal jargon gets intense in parts of these. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereon alleges that each of the defendants was an agent, managing general partner, managing member, owner, co-owner, partner, employee, representative of the defendants, and was at all times material hereto, acting within the purpose and scope of such an agency, employment, contract, and or representation, and that each of them are jointly and severally, is it severally a word? I think that's what that would be. That's not severely. And severally liable to plaintiff for acts alleged herein. I guess that would mean they're responsible for several things. I've never seen that before. Maybe I'm dumb though. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereon alleges that each of the named defendants aided and abetted, encouraged, and rendered substantial assistance to the other defendants in breaching their obligations to plaintiff as alleged herein, in taking action as alleged herein, to aid and abet and substantially assist the commission of these wrongful acts and other wrongdoing complained of. Each of the defendants acted with an awareness of her primary wrongdoing and realized that her conduct would substantially assist the accomplishment of the wrongful conduct, wrongful goals, and wrongdoing. Defendants and each of them also knowingly and willfully conspired to do the acts and things herein alleged pursuant to and in furtherance of the conspiracy. Plaintiff served as the full-time personal housekeeper to the Kleins beginning approximately December 16th, 2020. So they've been the housekeeper for like 4 years and some change. She was well regarded during her time with them and fulfilled her job duties without issue, including cleaning the house, doing laundry, making meals, regularly performing errands, and grocery shopping. During her employment, plaintiff suffered from a hernia of which the Kleins were aware. On June 18th, 2024, plaintiff learned that she would need surgery for her hernia. The very next day, June 19th, 2024, at 10 a.m., she notified Miss Klein, Hila, that she would be needing time off for hernia surgery on July 19th, 2024. Additionally, she told Miss Klein that her doctor expected her to need a month to recover, but that if she felt better sooner, she would return earlier. How generous. On June 20th, 2024, plaintiff placed a call to Karen in Teddy Fresh's Human Resources Department as she was having a problem with her time card login. She notified Karen by voicemail on that date that she would be going out for surgery on July 19th, 2024, and that her doctor expected she would need a month to recuperate. Shortly thereafter, on June 20th, 2024, only 2 days after plaintiff notified her employer that she needed time off for hernia surgery, Carrie Bish, EDP of finance. Eat that pussy 445 of finance, called plaintiff to notify her that her employment was being terminated and that she did not need to return to the house. Days later, as Miss Bish attempted to have plaintiff sign a release, which plaintiff declined to sign, plaintiff pressed for a reason for her termination. Miss Bish, that name is killing me. Miss Bish responded that her employer was going in a different direction and referenced a problem she had with the Klein's nanny. The reason was pretextual, so I think that means that had been something that was before, like it didn't just come up within the time that she had said, hey, I need to get hernia surgery. Like this is something that they knew about before. I think that's what that means. So they're basically saying, it's weird that you would say this is a problem all of a sudden. It seems really convenient that as soon as I need surgery, now this is a problem that you have to fire me for. I think that's what that's saying. Defendants terminated plaintiff because she requested time off for her hernia surgery. Plaintiff has exhausted her administrative remedies by filing a charge with and receiving a right to sue letter from the California Civil Rights Department. And then, that's just, well, actually, no, 13 and 14, I think that's still part of this. Plaintiff hereby realleges and incorporates by reference as though, okay, you know what, no, that is fully just pure jargon there. Oh, so yeah, those are the accusations. We don't have any evidence at this time. And we'll go and look at the Snark comments afterwards. I think first, let's get Ethan's response. He just did a stream a couple days after this and after he responded on, I think those were Instagram stories that we looked at. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. He did that like right when this came out, and then this is like a day or two later, maybe.
So, my former housekeeper, Elizabeth, her name's in the complaint, filed a lawsuit for, I think the charge is wrongful termination. Her allegation is that she needed time off to get her hernia treated, and then we just fired her, which is insane. It's insanely totally fabricated.
Insane.
I was talking to Hila. She went to, like, briefly before this hernia surgery she was due for, she literally went back home.
Oh, so we're calling it a hernia surgery now. Casting the whole proclaimed reason for the time off into question. Okay.
Briefly before this hernia surgery she was due for, she literally went back home to, like, Venezuela. Took 3 weeks.
Okay, sorry. Had to hit the button there.
Good golf.
It's just,
Yeah, that's a very terrifying animation.
Yeah.
Get that out of here.
Very good golf.
it's just, I don't know why it's being provoked so much lately.
Because I'm guessing he revealed too much info about his former employee there. Just going off the context there, I think that's what happened. And he decided, you know what? Probably don't need to share that with the world.
That was the right choice.
Which I will say, I have more or less sided with Ethan over a couple recent things, but with the Hassan especially, and also the on-air fight about Bo Black's pronouns and stuff. I mostly sided with Ethan there. But this, oh God, why did we end up back here?
Good golf.
It's just, I don't know why it's being provoked so much lately.
This is a problem that he has where he gets like too caught up in the moment and he's like way too bombastic. And if he could just couch and restrain himself a little bit more, I think he could get a lot more people on board with him. But that's the thing. Like, even when he has solid points, he'll have to be a little too bombastic and go too far with it. And then it gives people more ammunition to disagree with them or whatever.
That was the right.
It is like a recurring thing that he does, where even when he is, in my opinion, more or less in the right, he gets too emotional and charged up and goes overboard. Like I saw a clip of him recently. He essentially was encouraging his fans to mass report this YouTube channel. It was like I can't remember. It had some artsy fartsy logo for their podcast name, and it was some Israel Palestine stuff. And Ethan reported it on his live stream, and even when he was doing it, he's like, "Oh, what would it be? Would it be encouraging violence or something like that?" He was like him and Han trying to figure out what it was. And it's like, all right, man, you shouldn't be doing that on your stream. You're encouraging like brigading and mass reporting and stuff, and that's super lame. Like, just make your point, let your opinion be known, and that should be enough. You shouldn't be needing to encourage anybody to mass report unless it's like PDF stuff or really egregious stuff.
Right choice.
Yeah, so I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. She
You probably want to restate.
Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
briefly before this hernia thing happened, she took 2 or 3 weeks off to go back home to Venezuela, I think, to see her family get dental work. We paid her for the entire time she was gone. Like, we have never punished anybody for taking time off. We encourage people to take time off to do the things that they need to do. We pay people for their time off. It's so gross that this woman was a part of our family and would just turn around.
And from what I've seen, I do think that Ethan probably treats his employees pretty well. Even stuff like the Bo Blacks fight, where he did get way too animated and like carry his energy that he had for his chat to Olivia, and he like yelled at her, and as he should have apologized and walked it back or whatever. I think she still did get a little upset, which that happens, but I still didn't see that he did anything this horribly egregious. It seems like they're almost always having fun together, and I just don't see what people are talking about when they make it out that this is such a hostile work environment. To me, it seems like the employees feel comfortable pushing back against Ethan's opinions and that sort. Like they disagree all the time, and it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. Even when they do get animated and bombastic or whatever, I think that stuff's super overblown most of the time.
Around and do something like
And so from what I've seen, I do believe that he treats his employees decently. Not to say that none of this could be true or whatever. It's going to go to court or whatever, and we'll see there. And I would defer to the judge or whatever it is at that point in time. But from what I've seen, it seems like he does right by his employees.
just straight up a lie about this hernia thing. It's so stupid. But and there's even more absurdness to it. Like she filed a lawsuit. We have an arbitration clause, so she can't even sue us. Also, like a California law, like apparently you can't sue individuals for claims brought against the company. So, like, as a matter of law, the majority of this is going to be dismissed outright. And we have
Okay, sure. That sounds like technicality, legal stuff. I want to hear your moral argument for what went down here, Ethan.
everything, all the complaints with HR, like everything is super well documented.
We should
Oh, yeah, and this part also is why I feel a little bit more comfortable thinking that Ethan is probably more so in the right here. Like his confidence in saying this is tracked by HR, I don't think it's going to be a problem. That to me does say a lot, right? Because if HR, people say it all the time, HR is not there to help you, it's there to help the company. And, sometimes that does entail helping out the employees if it protects the company from legal liability or whatever. But if it's ever, well, we got to protect the company or the employee, they're going to protect the company. So if Ethan is saying that these people whose job it is to protect the company crossed their T's and dotted their I's, to me, that says, yeah, they probably did then, right?
explain the complaints.
Yeah, so basically, the main complaint, she's been doing this to a lot of people. And before I was like, oh, she's like, she said kind of similar shit to me, but I don't care about it. I go, she's like my mom. She's just, making these inappropriate comments. But she was making it to other people. For example, our nanny, she was calling fat and constantly asking her if she.
They have a housekeeper and a nanny, just to be clear. I kind of, the first time I heard about it, I didn't realize that they had a housekeeper and a nanny, so I was kind of confused. But yeah, the housekeeper is suing them, and Ethan is saying part of the reason that she was fired is because the housekeeper was repeatedly, continually rude to the nanny.
She gained weight. And she would come to us and say, this is really upsetting me. It's really inappropriate. And of course, we completely agreed. So we would sit her down with HR and give her like official warnings, being like, please just stop commenting on people's like private lives, their weight, whatever, but just please stop. And she kept doing it. I mean, love, you when you were you met her, right?
Which, if you were doing, like, at my workplace, if you were doing that, there's like 7,000 employees at the place I work. You might get, one or two of those warnings, but if you're making those types of comments about people's appearance and weights, you're going to be out of the job pretty quick in like a more corporate setting, at least in my experience.
Yeah, I met her a couple of times, and much like you, though, is very like typical grandma jokes about.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
So she very nicely of you guys. You guys offered to stock the fridge with goods and like sodies and whatnot, and
Sodies? Is that what they call them wherever this guy's from? One of the Scandinavians. I feel dumb. I don't know which one this is. But sodies, huh? That's what they call them there.
the fridge with goods and like sodies and whatnot, and she asked me what I wanted. And when I was asked, she commented, I was like, are you sure you want that many sodas or snacks? So obviously, personally, it doesn't bother me, but
So she's given like, do you really need that? Do you really need that? This, to be fair, he's talking about how she talked to him, not how she talked to the nanny. But, if she's saying it to other people, it makes sense that she'd say it to other people.
to be exposed to that every day, and That's not fun. You know?
Yeah, she's always constantly judging people's health, and it's kind of funny to me because she's a chunky little lady.
Yeah, that's what caught me so off guard.
She's built like
about
Humpty
this.
Dumpty, and I only say that because, like, just to tell you.
There is an irony there. Yeah. Yeah.
And she had a lot of energy. Don't get me
I
wrong.
think
Like, she was
saying like kind of mean grandma energy is the right description. Like I think
but like
people know that archetype.
And that's why we were willing to be like, listen. I always liked her, okay, personally, and that's why I wanted to be like, listen.
Well, I would hope so, that you liked the person you let into your house for years. I would hope that you liked them.
I always liked her, okay, personally. And that's why I wanted to be like, listen, just stop, especially the thing with our housekeeper. Please just be professional with her, okay? And she kept doing it. And she kept doing shit like this where our housekeeper, or our nanny, let's say, made food or had lunch with the kids. And then she'd put their dishes in the sink. And then our Elizabeth, the one who's suing me, she would explicitly not wash the dishes because she was like, oh, that's your job. Like our kids' dishes. And our nanny has her hands full. Like she is busy as fuck. And it was like these little pathetic, snide things that she was constantly doing. I literally had no choice. I had zero choice but to fire her. In fact, I mean, if I didn't, it would have been an issue. It would have been another issue because, like, at a certain point, it's like, you know, she's creating a hostile.
Yeah, you're like allowing one employee to harass another if you don't do anything about it.
Work environment.
Well, the thing is, they did do something about it. They, at least according to Ethan, they sat her down with HR and had the talks. Hey, you can't do this stuff. You got to stop. And so then, especially if they're like acknowledging that it's that much of a problem where they need to sit them down and then they just let it keep going on, yeah, that's gonna look real bad.
Because like,
and it's gonna suck for the nanny too. Genuinely, it's like who wants to hear that all the time? Where you're just trying to do your job and somebody's commenting about your weight and stuff. Like how obnoxious! Like I'm just trying to make my paycheck.
At a certain point, it's like, you know, she's creating a hostile work environment,
right? Yeah.
And so, you know. So we fired her. We did it through HR. Everything up and up. We gave her a very generous severance package because I cared about her and I didn't want to leave her high and dry. And yeah, so she ended up. She's been threatening us, I guess, for a while now. She contacted some employment attorneys, and they've been like, we need they were trying to shake us down for a lot of money. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was like.
Yeah, I think part of one of the things was that they said she wasn't allowed breaks. That's one of her allegations. They didn't give her time. They were just running her, you know, do this, and so she never had time to take breaks. And especially California, they're more pro-employee than arguably any state in the U.S. I'm not going to say like I know all the laws, but that's their reputation at the very least, is that they're way more pro-employee than the rest of the states in the U.S.
In the six figures.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And so she's saying that she needs to be compensated for all that time that she didn't get breaks. And it was like, it was tens of thousands of dollars. I want to say it was like 60, 70,000 that she was requesting just for that one. There's like, what, 15, 16 of them there? Let me double check. Yeah, 16 of them. And failure to pay all wages due, failure to furnish wage statement, waiting time penalties, that sort of stuff. Was like she wasn't allowed to get a break the way that she said it. And so she wanted payment for all of that time where she should have had a break, and she was, you know, in the systems clocked out or whatever it is. I don't know if they actually have a clock out thing or it's a honor system or whatever they have, but essentially she's saying, I never got to take these breaks for years and years. You need to pay me for all of that, and it adds up to tens of thousands of dollars. And that's just one part of it.
Jeez.
And so I was like, fuck that, you know what I mean? And you guys know me, like, one, we're completely in the right and we have everything documented. So I have nothing to fear by this going to, you know, going to trial or whatever in front of a judge. And the second thing, as you guys know about me, is that I never fucking let people. I would rather pay the attorneys double than what she's asking for, if that's what it takes. Like, I will never, ever, ever concede to this types of shit. I don't care, and I'm just not an option. Like, my attorney was like, "Do you think we should just settle? Like, that'd be." I said, "No, there's no quarter left for her. She gets nothing. Good day, sir. Good day, ma'am." In the words of Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
You know. So it's just a totally bogus, pathetic lawsuit. And it's gonna be super easy to.
I mean, if you have it all logged and documented,
it's all logged.
The interventions and like having to talk to her about it multiple times or whatever, it sounds like you're in good shape.
It's ridiculous. It's all accounted for.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. And obviously, Dan is going to be biased towards his employer, but just the fact that Ethan's so comfortable saying, "Hey, we did all the HR stuff. It's documented. It's all in the books. We're good. I'm not worried about it." That's a big part of why I'm willing to believe that, especially because there's not any real evidence offered so far. Of course, if it goes to court and this stuff's proven, I will defer to the court over just Ethan saying something. But at this point, it is essentially he said, she said.
So, and then the weird thing is that, so she filed this lawsuit. My attorneys hadn't even seen it yet somehow, within 24 hours of her filing this obscure lawsuit, it's on Snark and YouTube Drama. Even my attorney was like,
"Yeah, that's where serious legal matters are handled, over on the H3 Snark subreddit. What's the problem?"
How did they get that? Yeah, were they just sitting there refresh? Well, my attorney's like, she knows, and the attorneys know that this lawsuit is going to get absolutely eviscerated by a judge because it's just total nonsense. It needs to go to arbitration, and there's all these other illegal things like charging us individually when she's charging like our company that employed her. And so,
yeah, that stuff, I don't care about all that. That's like technical. I want to know whether or not you screwed over your employee. I don't care about, well, technically she signed away or whatever, you know. Not that I'm saying Ethan tricked her into signing away her rights or whatever. But if that was the case, that she had done that, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, well, no, she signed her rights away. She screwed." Like, no. If Ethan screwed her over, he screwed her over, and that's what I would care about more than he's technically legally in the right.
It's clearly been made public as a tactic to put pressure on us. Like, she's actually going that route, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was sent from someone on her side to Snark or YouTube Drama or so on. I'd like to know how they acquired it.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I would think there are the way the people in the Snark subreddit act, I could fully believe there's somebody who's obsessed enough and has like a connection to some law type person or whatever, where they get that. Not to say that she didn't do that, but also the people on the H3 Snark subreddit are very dedicated to hating this guy. So I could see that they got it legitimately, but I don't know for sure either way.
I suppose it's possible. I'll offer an alternative, which is that somebody on that subreddit is maybe like dedicated enough hater that they've
refreshed the docket.
No, but like set up alerts or something. Like if your name,
yeah, or they have like access to certain systems or something. Like, you know, there's all these different types of jobs where only if you work for somebody or a company in this industry do you get access to these systems. That sort of thing. I could see that being the case. Again, I don't know, but I could see that being the case for sure.
I don't think that's a thing for the dockets.
I think it is a thing.
Well, my attorneys were like, my attorneys hadn't even seen it. They didn't even
no,
see
I mean, it's wild, but you have some dedicated haters. What can I say?
She thinks it's orchestrated.
I mean, what you're saying does make sense if the tactic is to put public pressure on you to settle, which I guess makes sense.
That's absolutely, first of all,
but they don't know you.
In my opinion, that's absolutely.
If that was their plan, because.
Well, she only knows nice me.
Right.
Yeah. She doesn't know psycho me.
Yeah, I don't know.
But her son is a fan, and he's worked with us. It's a shame. He's a really nice guy.
Elizabeth was always a sweetheart to me.
Me too. Yeah.
But I'd heard about this issue in the past, so yeah.
There was another one. What was the anecdote? Somebody else told me about it. What was it? It was something about.
What was that quote again?
She was doing this to everyone. It's really nuts.
I was thinking, could you be more vague? Could you possibly be more vague with your description of this thing we're supposed to help you remember?
It was something about.
What was that quote again?
She was doing this to everyone. It's really nuts.
Oh wait, was that coconuts in Barbados? I think that was the. I can't remember which one's fresh and which one's fit. But the guy who can't talk at all. Pretty sure that's him. Coconuts in Barbados. That quote's from.
But I'm getting an update. There was another anecdote I heard.
I will say the weight comments are very common in Latino families.
Listen,
I have no idea why. If you're too skinny, they make a comment. If you're too big, they make a comment. And it's always, especially the big comments, always come from like a big person. It's always weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Middle Eastern
and that's
people
why
too.
I was like, that's why I was trying to give her some like grace. I was like, listen, just stop doing that, please.
Right, but
especially with our nanny who's expressed concern. You could say whatever you want to me. I don't care, right? But please, you have to stop doing this. And she just wouldn't.
Right, that's the thing. Like, I don't care if employees razz each other or they mess around, insult each other, as long as they're both on board and they have fun with it. That's the case lots of places. But if one of the employees saying, hey, this is like hurting my feelings, I'm not cool with this, then that's a problem. But if people are saying mean things to each other and it's all in good fun at the work, who cares? Who cares?
She couldn't help herself for some reason. She had to call her nanny fat. She could not control herself.
I have a family member who's had weight issues, being too skinny, and some other family members said, just don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. Don't ever bring it up. And sure enough, as soon as that person walks in, right away, oh, you look so skinny. Have you lost weight? And it's like a tick. They can't help it.
It reminds me of somebody else I know. No wonder you had empathy for her.
What'd I do? Me?
Sometimes you can't help yourself.
About weight?
No, just in general about not being able to not say.
Hold your tongue. Yes, this is very true. Ethan could do very well for himself to just hold his tongue a little bit more, not be so bombastic and quick to go so hard on his live streams. Like just wait till you have a little bit more. You can be a little bit more sure of yourself before you go so hard with these things.
Say things.
I mean, listen.
Well, and in general, probably just chill out, like, because it's live, right? Like, people are gonna see this. You don't get to edit it out.
If I was working at a job that I liked and wanted to stay at,
yeah, no, it was very
like,
reasonable.
Can you please stop calling someone fat? I'd be like, that's not a problem.
Right. Yeah.
I can manage that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She couldn't not. Is hilarious. That's crazy.
For me personally, it depends on who the fatty is.
Right. What if they're a mean fatty?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. So there's another another person that worked in proximity to her that she told, who asked for time off for pregnancy, which obviously, again, that's we're happy to do that and support them. That's, you know what I mean? We respect and understand people have lives outside work. So she has 4 kids, and Elizabeth told her to stop having kids when it's too much. So she asked for time off because she's pregnant, and Elizabeth was like, "You need to stop having kids. It's too much." So I mean, listen.
Yeah, that's definitely overreach, especially if it's already been, I don't know the exact timeline of this, but if this is after a point where they've sat her down with HR and be like, cool your jets, and she's still doing this stuff, like, yeah, you're a nuisance to the workplace.
Listen, it's like when being a aggressive grandma goes wrong. It's just, but it's like the way she's coming at us is crazy. She did this when Hila gave birth to Sonny. She told our nanny, she asked if she's pregnant.
Jeez.
Oh,
she's
boy.
obviously not pregnant, by the way. So she asked her if she's pregnant. Can you imagine that? And then she also said, we have it written down.
Can you imagine? Like, you've never told a joke like that, Ethan. All right, come on. All right. The problem is that your other employee has made it clear, I'm not down with this. This needs to stop. And then the housekeeper keeps doing it. All right, you're gonna have friction at workplace. Somebody might make somebody else uncomfortable. As a one-off, that's not a big deal. But once it's been explained to somebody, hey, you're causing these problems. You got to stop doing this because everybody's here just trying to clock in, clock out, get their money, support their lives. Then yeah, you get lost.
Down. So Hila's telling me, she's saying, "You're young. You should have lost weight." Or you're young. You should lose weight.
What the hell?
And so yeah, it's like comically absurd. And you have to at times fire people. You have to do it. It's just you have to.
Well,
do
like
it.
you said, if you didn't,
That's the thing that sucks about being a boss. Like one of the worst things I've ever had to do as an employee is I had to fire a single mother. She was a server at a restaurant that I managed, and she was like a ideal employee in pretty much every way. She's always down to pick up shifts and has solid availability and all these sorts of things. But she was just a terrible server. She was just so slow. And I was running around every single shift that I worked with her, just exhausted. I'd have to have a host come in on days where there's no reason to have a host just because I can't keep up with this woman. She's not a strong enough server. And it sucks because I know she's a single mom and she's doing her best and she didn't really do anything wrong. She's just not good enough at her job. And I had to fire her and it was brutal. I felt awful about it. But what else are you supposed to do? Like, if the person is causing problems or they can't do their jobs or, there's a multitude of things you just have to let people go sometimes. It sucks, but that's how it goes.
you would have a problem on the other end. You'd be getting sued by your nanny for allowing a hostile work environment.
And I'll be honest, we love our nanny. She is
She's been with you guys forever now.
Since Teddy was born, and she's like so amazing. I'm very protective of her. She's been through other things, and I'm always wanting the best for her and to make sure. So like for me, we take that very seriously when it's targeted towards her, and what can you say? It's just fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, you can sue anyone for anything, right? So obviously, it's great fodder for all the people that hate me to be like, oh, Ethan fired his housekeeper for asking for time off. It's like, no, it's so fucking stupid. It's also pretty routine, I have to say, when you employ a lot of people, that this kind of stuff just happens from time to time. It's just unfortunately part of the game. There's a lot of companies that will just settle. They'll just be like, it'll cost us less to pay you than pay the attorneys. So we'll settle and just move on.
I'm sure that's whatever lawyer jumped on this was assuming would happen, because I think in 99 out of 100 cases that probably is what happens. But they found that one with you, boy.
I said she gets nothing. She gets nothing. I will spend.
That's the perks of being privately owned. You don't have to constantly, every step of the way, do right by the shareholders. You can be a little bit more selfish when it's your private company, and you can act according to your morals.
Spend way more money than she's asking for to make sure she gets nothing, because that's how it is. Nobody
You're the pettiest man alive. It's a bad idea.
It's just It's just fuck that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Bet you have nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hila wants to say for the record, and again, Icos, that our nanny is not fat, by the way. She is a lovely, beautiful girl.
I guess you should. We all know her, so we get the absurdity.
That's good. That's what I was worried about this whole time. Okay, but is the nanny actually fat, Ethan? And thank God he said no, she's not fat. Okay, so now I know it's wrong that the housekeeper said that to her.
On its face,
Amazing.
But like this woman. I mean, nobody deserves that, but especially in this case, it's just like, what? Like, she's just being so mean for no reason.
So mean.
Dude, older people, they just don't know boundaries. Like, I sent a photo of my new apartment to my grandma, and she was like, It looks a bit messy. I was like, okay, I just moved in.
Oh yeah, I was trying to think what
in a different time. I
I
guess.
was just trying to think what she looks like, and I mean this with peace and love, right? I just trying to, so you guys understand. She's built like Mrs. Potato Head, Elizabeth. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty good. You guys know who? Like that's pretty good.
Sure.
And she's energetic. Like she zips around, and you know what I mean. She gets shit done.
Again, until this whole saga, you know, I had a very good impression of her. She was always very sweet. She was there during like the frenemies days. So it was basically like, it was like Elizabeth, Ethan, Trisha, and me in the basement.
Yeah.
It's the crew.
The crew, yeah.
You know, and there's here. Let me see I put out an Instagram statement immediately because I was like, all right, well, let me just at least explain what the fuck this.
Yeah.
Mexican. Thank you to Adelie. Thank you so much for that dono. In Mexican culture, your family members find your insecurities and make it your nickname.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
the common ones are gordo, which means fat,
Sure,
and then
yeah.
flaco, which means skinny. There's some other ones, but I feel like I can't say them just because maybe it could be translated.
Wait, flaco? Flaco means skinny? So how did No Jumpers Flaco get his nickname then? He should be Gordo, if anything. How does that happen? Poetic Flaco? No. Poetic Gordo.
Translated wrong or offensive? I'm not sure what's offensive in
Do
Spanish.
they for real call people gordo?
Yes, that's an extremely
100%.
common. It's more common with boys. They don't really call girls that.
That's fucked up. Hey, what's up, little What's up, Gordo? What's up, Fatso?
Essentially, yeah.
I knew somebody who that was his nickname. Yeah.
The more
Gordita?
I work with Nate, the more I'm seeing the similarities between like Mexican culture and Arab culture. Arabs, they just say butter, which means cow.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Just
Like-
calling your kid cow.
Ouch. It's for
crazy.
real.
Rod him, couple.
Now, my response, by the way, was I'm pretty sure people were being downvoted and banned.
Okay, yeah. So Jake Chinatown here, he was talking. Ethan and Hila Klein are named defendants in a new lawsuit. Their housekeeper needed time off for hernia, and they fired them. So that's why he brought up that this guy also retweeted somebody saying they'd love to grab his children by the legs and repeatedly slam them into an oak tree. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I see why you would be irritated with this guy at the very least.
From YouTube Drama and Snark for posting my response.
Very good.
Great.
This is
What do you expect? You know.
the thing is, like, I just don't care anymore. Like, people, they expect me to
You
feel.
honestly shouldn't. Like,
These people, Elizabeth and their lawyers thought I would feel bad and I'd be worried. These people are saying that I kill babies and that I do genocide. Like, this is a fucking walk in the park.
right.
Oh, you fired me for asking for time off? Big fucking whoop.
Let's put it in perspective.
Apparently, I killed like
Not even the worst thing
100,000
I've
children.
been accused of
Yeah.
this week.
It was just annoying, though. I'll admit, when I saw this, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then it was posted
Yeah,
by
of
this
course.
guy, Jake Chinatown,
Oh.
who
Was just threatening
famously a couple days before retweeted somebody saying they wanted to smash my children into an oak tree repeatedly by their ankles.
Mm-hmm.
He retweeted that, and now he's pretending to care.
I mean, now that I think about it more and more, like the internet definitely desensitizes you, but that is a truly unhinged thing to say and or give your stamp of approval in the form of a retweet. Like that is it's just so wild. How do you get that lost, right? Man, that is nuts.
About a lawsuit.
Yeah. That's Chinatown, Jake.
Hey, that's exactly. Why is he obsessed with Chinatown? Isn't there a story about like incest and rape and shit? Like a little weird, bro.
But isn't it always also just a place too? I feel like we're reading too much into that. Isn't Chinatown also just a place? Like there's multiple Chinatowns and stuff. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know anything about Chinatown, but I think that's the case.
Sorry, spoiler. Chinatown
I mean-
made in like fucking the.
What's your
Well,
argument?
at first I was wondering if you were confusing the story about the director
No, that's what
because
it's about.
he also. That's Roman Polanski directed.
What's
that
your
movie.
argument?
But that's the bit. That's the end. They go, "It's my brother, my dad."
You love spoiling.
It's fucking Chinatown,
Classic
bro.
movies.
This movie's like
It's just your
100 years
favorite
old.
act- it's your
It's a
favorite side
100.
quest.
Even I've seen it.
It's
Okay,
had a
fair enough.
resurgence.
And by the way, you're the one that provoked me to be more specific.
It's a little bit true.
Yeah, Dan, what do you have to say to that?
My bad. My bad.
Same as last time. It was your fault.
Yeah. Well, still, I mean, watch Chinatown or don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to like that movie
It's a
anymore?
great movie.
I don't even know.
Come on, Dan. It's Chinatown.
It's very old.
Yeah.
It's cool to see like young Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
But
I think
prefer
they get
modern-day
distracted by
Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson stuff here for a while, if I remember. Skip ahead here.
Raised in Europe.
Oh, it's just a
Yeah.
American thing.
Oh,
well,
I'm
maybe I
hearing-
can't put that on the Germans then. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize to all the Deutschlanders.
Yeah. Oh, I never read my Insta story. Let me read that. I said our former housekeeper.
Okay, yeah. They went on a tangent farther, talk about pretty sure it was Jack Nicholson and how he doesn't care and he just does whatever he wants or whatever. Sits at the court side of basketball games eating French fries or something. It was way too long to talk about whatever it was.
Was fired for being horrifically rude to our boy's nanny, constantly calling her fat and asking when she gained all the weight. I gave her so many warnings, hoping she would stop, but she didn't. She was part of our family, and we treated her like it. I tried everything to salvage the relationship, but her conduct was inexcusable. It's all documented with HR, which hopefully makes this an easy matter to settle. It feels extremely violating to know that someone that close to our family can turn around and do something like this. The part about her asking for time off for hernia surgery is then being fired is 100% fabricated. Anyone that knows us or works for us knows that it is not something we would ever do. I care deeply for all of our employees and do everything in our power to do right by them. She tried to shake us down for a huge amount of money, which I immediately declined, knowing our innocence and refusing to ever concede to people like her. So,
Damn.
I'll tell you what, Jake, I'd like to grab this lawsuit by the ankles and slam it into an oak tree.
I mean, you could do that.
Nice.
It's an inanimate object. There's
How
no
about that?
problem.
Let's take someone that wants to murder your children violently and turn that into a gaffe. Not many could do that.
Not many. Not many. Very few have the metal.
Anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Anywho.
Oh,
guys
that's
tomorrow.
I'm gonna go to bed.
She hasn't woke up. She's still sleeping.
No, she came back.
Anywho.
She came back.
With FaZe Bank.
Anywho,
FaZe Banks.
But
I'm gonna go to bed.
Did it actually come out?
Yeah,
Well, they
she
posted
deleted
it
it
and then they deleted it.
after she cried on it, apologizing, and she said that all.
Wait, did the Hawk Tua people actually posted that? I thought it like leaked or something. I didn't realize because my understanding was FaZe Banks. He had like some stipulations. I don't remember exactly what they were, but it was very firm where you are in no way allowed to use this to promote the coin at all or whatever. And then they kind of did. But I didn't realize they actually put that out on the Hawk Tua channel. And that's how that came out. Man, those people are scummy. That is crazy. But what do you expect from the Pauls, whichever one it is that helped them out? I can't remember. I think Jake Paul. I'm not positive.
All the proceeds from the video would go to help
Why
the
did she erase
animals
it?
in the wildfires.
Wait,
What
she
if?
deleted
Wait,
it?
what?
Yeah, she
So there's no
deleted it.
proceeds.
She cried. Wait, after or before?
She rug pulled those poor animals.
She cried on the podcast episode that they posted and then deleted.
So has she posted anything since they posted?
Oh, I'm just gonna take Olivia at her word. Sounds like they did post it to their channel. That is nuts. That is nuts. Because at least from what I saw of the text messages, FaZe Banks was. I mean, he was kind of going out on a limb for him a little bit. Not that I want to give FaZe Banks any credit. He seems like pretty solidly a scumbag. But either way, from what I saw, he laid it out pretty clearly. Where it's like, hey, these are the stipulations. If you want to put this out, you got to go by this. And then they just didn't.
And deleted?
Let's see.
Why
Abby,
would
who?
she do that?
Anywho, I'm gonna go to bed.
I'm
And I'll see you guys
bed.
tomorrow.
That's good.
Here's my Pookie.
She's such a cartoon
Anywho.
character, bro.
Anyway, here's my Pookie.
Anywho,
She is Timmy Turner down for real.
Somebody asked, and I know you're being a wise guy, but I'll take it on.
This made me laugh.
Somebody said Slim Killer. Oh. AB is still gone, by the way.
He just
He
left.
left. He
It
went
wasn't a
home.
joke, man.
Why don't you stream on the weekend? Okay, Slim Killer. I'll
Yo!
take on. Here, I'm a one man. We are a set of finite people that do this work. DHL is a conglomerate. This is a rotating group of.
He brought up earlier that DHL does not deliver in the U.S. on weekends or something. I think that's what this is.
Millions of people to get the job done. You know what I mean? There's no, time is of the essence.
Yeah,
sure. You didn't get your delivery. I'm very sad.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they just want Ethan.
No.
Yeah, we'd all be here. We'd all be here. It's Ethan that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. You would be here 7 days a week, I'm sure.
Oh, I'd love to be.
Yeah, Dan, who's always like, can we fucking leave, please?
Speaking of the time,
let's thank our sponsor.
I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
That was a lie.
guys tomorrow.
Anything else to say about this before I move on? Let's see.
Anywho.
It's really just a bunch of bullshit.
And no new pod episodes. They deleted it and no Fs.
That is so wild.
Anywho.
I hope she's okay.
Yeah, and the best part is that they're not allowing this to be posted on Snark or YouTube Drama. Fantastic.
Thank God.
It's very good.
We love it, folks, don't we?
It's very good.
These people, they don't understand. Like, they've pushed me. They think that they can push me into, like, leaving the internet or something. I have nothing left to lose in terms of, like, anything you could say about me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. There's nothing you can say or do to me that will change my trajectory. And I'll tell you what, just wait, okay? Y'all think that, I'm just saying, there's lots of really fun. This nuke is not, there's a second nuke coming.
Yeah.
And it's coming fast and it's coming soon. And you guys are going to love it.
Hypersonic, would you say?
Hypersonic,
I have no idea what this is supposed to be about or how serious they even are, but supposedly there's going to be another nuke coming.
Not that these guys even have basic rocket tech, SAM? What are they called?
That's a surface-to-air missile.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would necessarily apply. Those don't carry warheads like nuclear.
That's what I'm saying. They don't even have SAM.
Yeah, well, all I remember, I think that was a 4-kill streak in Black Ops 1 to get a SAM turret, so it can't be that good, right? Because in MW2 and 3, I think it's like 25 or 30 kills for a nuke. So obviously, yeah, SAM turret does not compare.
Technology, let alone intercepting.
Who is Sam?
I don't know.
Have you thought about
that? So, yeah.
Oh, we got it. We're at 40 minutes.
Thank you so much to Shopify. I love these guys. If you are looking at our business,
No.
100% uptime, guys. I feel like I'm missing.
Shoutouts sponsor block, by the way. They'll show it on the timeline here. Usually it'll skip it. I think it didn't because I already watched it and I've been pausing and playing over and over again. But normally it'll automatically skip it. And I don't think you can get it on Google Chrome anymore. But if you use Brave instead, which I definitely recommend switching over. I got sick of Google like 6 months ago or something, and I've been using Brave since then. You still get to use all the extensions and stuff, the ad blockers that Google Chrome disallowed. So if that annoys you, I recommend switching over to Brave.
Something about the housekeeper thing before I move on. Actually, here's
You're missing something?
Here's the complaint. Let's see here.
I'm just gonna read this.
Complaint for damages. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Our information believe at all relevant times, Teddy Fresh was a California corporation. Blah blah. Oh, this is just statement of facts. Boring. This shit's boring. Let's get to the good shit. Plaintiff hereby re-alleges and incorporates by reference as though. God, these right. It's so boring. Get on with it. Just say what I did.
Yapping.
Seriously.
Well, this is the second.
I don't understand what they want.
Well, that's why you have lawyers to go through these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it helps if you're scrolling through the pages 1 second at a time. Because I actually took time to read it out loud, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I understood all of that.
Failure to engage in interactive process. I don't even know what that means. Failure to take all reasonable steps to prevent correct discrimination. Oh, what's the discrimination? By the way, provably wrong. Like I said, it's all well documented.
I'm pretty sure the discrimination is the medical discrimination, where So at least according to the housekeeper, she said she needed to get hernia surgery and then got fired. So medical discrimination. I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about.
Documented. We have employers have an obligation to take all reasonable steps necessary to prevent discrimination from occurring. What was the discrimination they're claiming?
Well, medical discrimination, right?
Oh, is that
Fired
what it
her
is?
because of the
Thanks,
need
Dan.
for this surgery, supposedly?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it says by their conduct, including but not limited to not training their managers adequately in employee rights to reasonable accommodations and medical leave, and failing to engage in an interactive process. Wah! That's what I hear. Wah! They didn't talk to me. They didn't explain things to me. Well, we did. I'm being silly because it is important, actually.
Yeah.
We did, and it is important.
Okay, I was gonna say, well, no, if you're firing this person without explaining it to them ahead of time at all, that could be a problem. But okay, he's joking.
Yeah, it's not.
Acknowledging that.
Seventh action. Oh shit. Retaliation in violation of California. So we retaliated for her asking time off. Wrongful termination. Damn, they really piled them on. Failure to pay meals and rest period. Okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about before. So what is it saying? Plaintiff is owed 2.5 hours of pay on each day or 12.5 hours a week that she worked for defendants. Plaintiff worked for the defendants for approximately 3.5 years, 182 weeks, and she is therefore owed approximately 2,275 hours. Plaintiff's hourly rate at the time of termination was $30. She is therefore owed approximately $68,250. That's what I was talking about before, where she's saying that she didn't get to take her breaks or whatever, which, like, if, to be clear, if Ethan and Hila were cracking the whip and genuinely giving her so much stuff where she couldn't take a break and putting a lot of pressure on her, then I could see this for sure. But the way I think about it is at my job, I get 2 15s and a 30. I can take them whenever I want. And if I didn't take the 30-minute break, it would be a problem. They're very clear about that. It has to be at least 30 minutes that you take this break. It can't be 29. It can't be 29:59. It has to be at least 30 minutes. And they stress that a lot. So maybe you could argue that Ethan and Hila had some sort of obligation where they needed to make it very clear and keep on top of her that she was doing that. I don't know what the legal obligations are, right? I don't necessarily know why the company that I work for is so on top of it, but I'm assuming it's to protect themselves on some level from these sorts of lawsuits. And so maybe Ethan and Hila did have some obligation to make sure that she was taking her breaks more than she was. But the way I see it is if I stopped taking my 30-minute break and became a liability for the company I work for, I would expect them to like give me a warning or two. And then if I kept not doing it, they're going to let me go, because otherwise they're risking a potential lawsuit just because somebody won't take the breaks that they're being told to take.
10th cause of action. Okay, whatever. So yeah, enjoy. If you're a snarker, there's all kinds of shit to sink your teeth into here. So enjoy.
Uh-oh.
I just hope that when this gets thrown out with prejudice from the judge, that you'll cover that too. And I'm sure they will, right?
Of course.
That will be front page of Snark and YouTube
No, that'll
drama.
be big news. Oh boy.
So yeah, that's that. Now, Dan, do you want to get started with the trimming?
Up to you. Up to you. Should I go?
Okay, so I think Dan lost a bet, so he has to shave his beard a little bit or something. I don't know. Not important to this, but let's just take a quick peek at what the H3 Snark people are saying. Ethan is surprised an employee hasn't taken them to court sooner. And here's a screenshot of Ethan saying, "It's also worth mentioning this is extremely common when you employ a lot of people. Surprised it didn't happen sooner." Next thing he's going to say is it's really hard as an employer to win these cases. Exactly. And whose fault is that? Hassan. I feel like he's one step away from saying she's doing this for clout. I mean, even if she's being entirely honest and representing everything as they happened, she'd obviously be doing this for money, right? Like this is just a stupid criticism. Oh, he'd say she's doing it for clout. No, it's for money, right? Whether or not she's being 100% honest or 100% it's for the money. Okay. Very depressed guy there. I'm not sure what this means. I'm not in the know. Okay, and they're like doing dog prawn. So that's enough of that for me then. Let's see. Oh, and I accidentally opened that, I guess. Here we go. What did they have to say about the lawsuit one? Oh my God, they commingled their personal funds with Teddy Fresh's. I guess we know how they afforded those expensive watches. And then they fired their housekeeper because she needed hernia surgery. I do it for punctuation. I mean, yeah, if you're just taking it at face value, then seems like that's what happened. I haven't seen enough where I'm just gonna say that happened, right? Again, I'll defer to the courts, but so far it's he said, she said, and Ethan seems pretty confident that he went through HR and did all the things that he needed to do. And from what he's described of this employee's behavior, it makes sense that they should be let go. You shouldn't be able to make you shouldn't be able to make other employees uncomfortable with your comments, especially after having been warned. Like, you're making it a hostile work environment for at least one other person. Why would I keep you around? Hope this gets enough attention. Hopefully Denims covers it. She mentioned it briefly, but didn't want to get deeper into it. I am sure this will somehow be Hassan's fault. His fans are doxing us. How did they find this public information? Unhinged. Okay. Well, no, this was 3 days ago, so they're not responding to what he said in this live stream anyway. Holy crap. What the F is that laundry list is bad? Well, yeah, the laundry list of somebody just saying something without needing to, it does sound bad there. If you just look at the list, but we don't have any evidence or anything like that so far. So you're just taking this random person's word. The housekeeper suffered from a hernia. She told Hila in June that she was going to need a surgery in July. The housekeeper was fired 2 days after she told Hila about needing time off, which means she probably lost her insurance right in the middle of a medical crisis. Yeah, you can do COBRA. COBRA it's like I don't know the exact terminology, but if you have a job where you had health insurance and you get fired or something like that, you have to pay a lot more, but you can kind of hang on to your health insurance. Something vaguely like that. Don't take me at my word for that. But essentially, it's very overpriced health insurance for people who aren't employed anymore, more or less. Which for sure, if what this person accusing Ethan is saying is true, then yeah, it will obviously be terrible that they did that. No doubt. The housekeeper worked for them for nearly 5 years. Then she has to get surgery for a hernia, and they illegally fire her. I wonder what Ethan will have to say about this. Probably nothing at all, because this is selfish, cruel, indefensible behavior. I hope H3 gets the exact energy back that they put out to the world. So, I mean, these people are just... somebody said it, so they're willing to believe it because it says something bad about Ethan. Like, these people are just insane, completely undiscerning, and if it feeds their narrative, they will believe it, and... it's just pathetic. It really is. Like these people on the H3 Snark, it's so obnoxious because you could have genuine criticisms for Ethan if you didn't go so hard and so far every time. Like you could just be a little bit more rational, and then normal human people would maybe see where you're coming from. But that is not what happens with H3 Snark. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we got. I will throw, this is the full thing here, the full lawsuit, all like 25 pages. I'll put this in the description if you want to see. And maybe if you're a lawyer or whatever, you'll understand all of it. But basically, I'm just going off of, she said that she was wrongfully fired. Ethan says no. He's very confident that HR is going to back him up. So I lean towards that. But again, I'm more than happy to defer to the courts if it turns out that Ethan was being dishonest or lying and he did do wrong by this employee. All right. I'm not going to defend somebody who's found to be abusing their employees by the court. But at this point where it's he said, she said, and Ethan is very willing to say everything went through HR. She was warned. She was making it a bad workplace for other employees. Yeah, she should go. She should get lost.